Well, have you ever had a question for a professional organizer and you're just dying to ask it? Well, today we are going to have an episode 71 on Ask the Organizer, myself. Hi, I'm Lorraine Brock, professional organizer and owner of Get Organized, professional organizing company that services the Dallas-Fort Worth and Oklahoma City area. And while we may not be able to be in everyone's home right now, we do offer virtual organizing, and we are excited to be here on Tip Tuesday and going to talk about questions that you may have. So I've got a list of questions here from these survey forms. When I go out and do a lot of public speaking, we have a survey form that a lot of our audience members will fill out. They often leave all kinds of questions on there for me to answer. And so I've brought some of these with me today to actually talk about and to actually answer for you guys. Now, if you're just tuning in with us and you have a question, make a comment down below and I will answer it. And then if I skip your answer, I'll come back to you. Don't worry about that. I have a pen here. I'm writing them down. But I am excited here. And so one thing about a professional organizer is they can come in with a different set of eyes. They're really good about space planning. They're really good about maximizing space. They obviously have a wealth of knowledge for products. That means things that you can repurpose in your home and things that you can purchase and really truly maximize your space and get the look and function you want in a space. Now, I realize that everyone doesn't always have a product that they need. Sometimes they just need a system or a little advice on tweaking something. So if you have a question, make a comment down below and I will take the time to answer it today. Our first question, like I had mentioned, I have some survey forms here. We're going to talk about is someone that made a comment to me and asked me, getting started. She says, I have a spare bedroom that is the most challenging space in my house. How do I get started in this area? So great question. Whether you're in a home that it's like totally disorganized everywhere or you got just one small space, I want to focus just for a second on her spare bedroom. But in a spare bedroom, if people are not obviously using it, it tends to be a catch-all place. And the catch-all places, you want to hide things when people come over. What I would recommend for the space that you want to get started in is to grab yourself probably about 12 different size banker size boxes. You can use laundry baskets, you can use plastic totes, but the totes need to be of a size as you put things in them, then as they get heavy, you can still carry and move them around. And so keep that in mind. When you get those 12 totes together, cardboard boxes will work. You want to do is take everything in that room, whether it's in a closet. Now, I'm talking about hanging closets. I'm talking about like stuff stuffed in a closet, in your drawers, under your beds, whatever room it is that you're particularly working in, but in her case, a spare bedroom, and start sorting like items together. So you're going to have a box for maybe grandkids' toys, or maybe books, or you may have electronic box, and you're going to sort like items together. Don't make the mistake of trying to decide on what you want to keep as you're touching every item, because you're going to sit there and have a high chance of having a reunion with your clutter. And that's the last thing that I want you to do. That's going to take more time and you're not going to get through, because you're going to stop and you're going to reminisce and you're going to try to make decisions and you're going to say, well, this doesn't belong in this room. Let me run it back or run it to the other room it belongs in. Don't make that mistake. So be efficient with the way that you're going to organize your project, whatever that is. And in this case, it's a spare bedroom. We're going to make boxes. Now, I would set those boxes maybe out in the hallway. If you have enough room in the room you're organizing, no problem. But I don't want you to have a chance of tripping and falling. And often the floors are packed with clutter or boxes around the edges. So put the 12 boxes out in the hallway, some area in that room, best answer for that. Then you're going to label each box. I wouldn't use a sticky note because it's probably going to come off after much movement. So just take a little piece of paper with a tape, and over each edge of the box, you're going to put what items are in that box: electronics, paper. Especially this is really good if someone is working with you. They can also sort at the very same time, and because the boxes are labeled, then they're able to know where to put those particular items. So in your project, if you're, in this case, a spare bedroom, sort the items. And once all the items are sorted, then you can go back and actually start the purging process. And if purging sort of scares you because you really don't like the idea of getting rid of things, you can use a better word. Let's just fluff it up a little bit. Part with. Does that sound a little better for you? Just saying. You want to part with or purge the items at this point you don't want. And think about, I always say, here's the criteria for purging items. Number one, are you going to use it? Do you have a specific date and time, season in mind that you're going to use that particular item? Number two, if you're not going to use the item, are you going to display it? For example, a platter that maybe you inherited from your grandmother and you don't really use it for anything. Are you going to display it? Or you might use it yearly at Thanksgiving. I don't know. Just ask yourself those questions. Number three, is your adult children or other family gonna want it? Now I know this pricks a lot of people's hearts, but most of our stuff that we have, our kids are not gonna want it. Especially if it's really dated items. You may have a child or two that wants a few things or one that's extremely sentimental, but I will tell you, you probably think they're going to want more than what they really want. If you have adult children now and there's something you're not going to use, go ahead and take a picture of it and text them and say, hey, do you really want this? So that's how I would start with this particular organizing project, is to sort and then to start purging unwanted, unneeded items from that particular space. Now, if you're talking about any space, start with your smallest space first. And the reason why, it will motivate you to go on to the next biggest space or the next space, and you'll sort of come up with a system during that time that you can actually follow through with even more efficiently and faster with the next space. So, all right, here's another statement that someone made. Apparently this is from a guy named James, and he says, my wife buys clothes and toys for the grandkids. Where can she keep them? Okay, the other question he asks is, kids move back home and then they leave their stuff when they move out. So we got two things here, and if you have a question you're watching online today, just type it down below and I will definitely make a note of that and get to it before the end of Tip Tuesday today. So in this case, his wife buys a lot of clothes. I would say whatever comes in, something needs to go out. And if you're bringing in a piece of clothing, have that person pick a piece of clothing that needs to go out. I know it's easier said than done, but discipline yourself into doing that, because otherwise you're going to find yourself down the road really with a big organizing project and a lot of clothes in this particular space. You buy a t-shirt, take out a t-shirt from your closet that you're not wearing, that's faded, that's not in good condition. The toys from the grandkids. I actually have a gift closet, so I would recommend having some kind of either a space for the grandkids to play with their toys, and that's just the toys they're playing with and they know where to go. Or if it's toys that you're going to be actually buying and giving away as gifts, I'd put it in a gift closet. So make a space in your home. It doesn't have to be a closet. It can be a box. It can be a shelf. Just something that there's a place for it, like giving it a home. All right, the other question he says is, kids move back home and leave their stuff. Well, even if they don't move back home, Kevin or James, they are probably going to leave their stuff when they first leave home. What do you do with this? How do you get it to them? Most children don't care about their things until they become parents themselves and sort of get in the season of life. So it's probably a good time to ask them at that point if they want some of the things. That could be in their 30s, most likely. If you're talking about college students that's graduated, they're probably not going to want as much now. Now, you can give them some things, absolutely, but if you can hold off, I would hold off till they become parents themselves or get a little bit more into their adult years and they realize the value of some of things, so they make a wise decision. But if you have things and your kids are not going to want them, well, let me just say this. If you have stuff and you want the kids to take it, you need to take a picture of it right away and ask if they want it. They can tell you from just a text message and a photo if they truly want those items. And if they don't, get rid of them. If they want something, then you can always take it to their home or have them pick it up, or even just mail them. So that's a way that you can handle that. I wouldn't just leave it in your closet or in your thing until they actually become aware of it. So let's get going. If you have a question online, let me know, because I'm going to be able to answer for you online if you have a question. Let's get to Sherry's question here. She has a memorabilia question, and but her number one area, she says, is the garage. But more importantly, she says she has a memorabilia she has no idea for. Can you help me with that? But physical spaces, it would be the garage. So I'm going to give you some ideas on the memorabilia. On the memorabilia side, everyone in your household, if they're an infant, all the way up until they leave the house, needs to have some type of tote or container, and I'd make it fairly large. I mean, again, not so large that it gets heavy that you can't carry it or put it up, but give everyone a tote. And what you're going to do is label it very clearly with their name on it, and things like their baby book or the newspaper the day they were born, or the things that they bring home from school, or they had souvenirs, different things that they wanted to keep, little keepsakes and stuff. Have them store it in that particular container. And all my boys have one. I have one. My husband have one. In fact, in one of my containers, I should have brought it out today. I have my baton when I was in elementary school. I wanted to be one of those people on the football field that was twirling up the baton and catching it, and I was so excited. And I never got rid of it. Never. I still have it to this day, and I can do some good twirling. I don't know if I threw it up, I'd probably hit myself in the head by now, because I am totally out of sorts on that. But I have the baton nevertheless. So I have a baton in my keepsake box. I have my a candle from like a wedding invitation and things like that. So keep a keepsake box for every member of your family, and then when they leave at some point in their adult life, you can give it to them. I would keep, some people keep like photos in keepsake boxes, and I would probably highly not recommend doing that. Most of the little small keepsakes that my kids made me to have photos on it, I've actually scanned and saved digitally, because that's what I do, is scan those things so they I keep the memory and the photo doesn't get damaged or fade. So if you have a question down below, let me know. I'm taking questions today, and I have quite a few here that I'm going to go through until you guys have a question. So this person says, this guy is Patrice, this girl is Patrice, and she's my kids' stuff. She says, and I have so many coffee cups. So she has two issues here, her kids' stuff and her coffee cups. I want to show you guys something. This is a coffee cup I grabbed and from my cupboards, and it's going to appear backwards, but it says, eat your heart out, I'm married. And you can see how faded it is. So when my husband and I got married 31 years ago, I was so excited, still am so excited to be his bride, that I bought us matching coffee cups. Yes, and I've kept them 31 years. And while there's no cracking or anything, it's definitely faded, but I'm keeping it because it's important to me, and we still use these sometimes just to bring back old memories. So I have no problem with keeping old sentimental cups as long as I am still using them. I have a newer cup that is my Get Organized cup, and enjoying some good water out here today. But I have no problem keeping coffee cups, and lots of them, but there is a threshold. There needs to be a threshold somewhere. So if that threshold with you is 15 cups or 20 cups, make a threshold. It cannot and it shouldn't be unlimited, especially if you really need the space that your coffee cups are taking up. If you don't need the space, then keep as many as you want. But still, I recommend a threshold of how many coffee cups you keep. And I know that sometimes that may mean giving away a cup someone that you care about gave you, and you fear they'll come over, have coffee or hot chocolate with you, and ask about the coffee cup. It's probably going to happen. And all right, we'll just move on from that one. Awkward moments like that are going to happen. try to give away ones that your neighbors live further away. That would probably be better. Family that never visits anymore, that would be a good idea. So coffee cups. Again, one little thing about coffee cups is you can put, like in my coffee cup cabinet, I have a square wire shelf, actually maybe rectangle, but I put the coffee cups that are taller on the tallest part, which is underneath, and the other ones on top. And so I'm really utilizing all my space top to bottom with my coffee cups versus, just putting them down on the shelf upside down or right side up and missing that little extra space above them before the next shelf starts. All right, here. So let's get into her kids stuff. Man, that's a big, deep, dark hole. Kids stuff. If you have kids stuff at your house, I wouldn't let them always bring in their toys into the main areas consistently. I would have a section for toys, especially if they're young, where you're at, so you can watch them, they can play around with you. But the bulk of the toys need to stay in their playroom, toy room, or their room. And I do believe you need to have a clean up and put up time before bedtime every single night. Just like you should do that yourself. About 15, 20 minutes, maybe even 30, depending on how fast they move. They may have to have a clean up and pick up time before bedtime. So if their bedtime's 8:30, make sure that they're showered and done and bathed and teeth brushed by 8, and then they pick up the last 30 minutes. If they want to read when they get into bed, you're going to have to back it up a little bit more. I mean, just use some common sense and back up that time so they have a good 15 or 20 minutes to pick up their area. All right. This person says here, named Leah, staying organized after my spring cleaning and getting my girls to follow suit. This happens way too often, and I can't keep motivated when the order of the house doesn't seem to be helping in keeping my kids and husband and me organized. So I would recommend, again here, when you do a spring cleaning, I always say do it with them, not for them. I mean, everybody, we're stuck at home right now. You should be doing some kind of project. I mean, knock something out that you can, including spring cleaning. I mean, I think we're officially in spring, I think like by 2 days. So start with doing it with them, not for them. Have them go in their room. And depending on how motivated they are, you may have to break this down into multiple days. But once the spring cleaning is completely done, or the fall cleaning, in order to keep it picked up, you've got to do the pickup and put up like I just mentioned a few minutes ago. You have to have a daily pickup to put things back where they belong. Now, some of you may not have a home for some of your stuff. That poses a big problem, because how does anybody know where to put it up if there's no home for it, right? So you have to make a home for it, and that's where the organizing comes in, that you'll make a home for something and then show your family, label it, let them know exactly what is going on with that space and where things need to go. So a couple more here. If you have a question, a comment, leave it down below. If not, I've got plenty of things that people want answers for in front of me. Keeping my calendar on track. Guys, I think if I excel with any organization area, I think it really is time management. I think I'm outstanding. That doesn't mean I don't forget things. It doesn't mean I'm not late. I'm imperfect. I'm going to have mistakes and things that I overlook, especially at times that I'm really busy or overwhelmed. But keep in mind, that is my strength. One of the things that I think you can do to keep your calendar on track is to meet with your calendar every day. That means don't just look at your calendar to see what you got to do every morning and then that's it. Like, meet with it. Have a meeting with your calendar and see what needs to move, what needs to be added, what things are not important anymore. And that way you're keeping on track of what you truly need to do. I often have a meeting with my calendar. I actually call it a brain dump session, but for purpose of simplicity right now, I'm not going to talk about the brain dump. What I do is I actually open my calendar, normally on my computer. It's the big screen. I can see multiple days at a time. If I'm doing it on my phone, it's going to pose a problem because it's harder to see long periods out and, and be able to see that, that big glance of what you're doing. Then I go and I add things, my phone calls, my task, my appointments, and I also evaluate what I did the next day or what I didn't do and move those things around accordingly too. So there's an evaluation when I meet with my calendar to actually take it and to make it more of the true day that I'm going to have, not this fictitious day. In fact, I remember going into one of our clients' house a few years back, and we were working on with the time management, and I said, get your calendar out and tell me what you have going on today. She said, oh, I can tell you. I got groceries. I got to take the kids to the dentist appointment. I got to do this. I got to do that. And I said, well, get your calendar, bring it out. And as soon as she got her calendar and laid it in front of me, there was one thing on her calendar. One. And it was me, an appointment with me. I'm like, your dentist appointment's not on there? She goes, no, I just remember that or tried to. This gets cluttered, folks. Don't rely on this. Probably gets more cluttered than our space. So keep track of your calendar. The best way to do that is to have a meeting with yourself and your calendar every single day. Now I'm going to end with this one before I go on to the giveaway for this week, is Legos. Legos. I actually still have Legos in my house. I saved all of my boys' Legos, tucked them away, and now my grandkids are starting to play with them. It's actually pretty darn cool, I think. Lots of them. I have kept mine in a under the bed storage container, one that actually has wheels on it so it rolls out real easy, and one that actually has a hinge in the middle on the top of the container. So instead of the container having one big lid that you just have to take off, there's a hinge right here. So this side opens while this side stays closed, or vice versa, which makes great because the kids or me can pull it out just a little bit, like halfway, be able to open it and have access to the Legos, which is a great thing for any type under the bed storage. Other things you can do with Legos, there is products at IKEA called the Troll Fast. Great line of products. They make a very tall or a very short pieces of furniture that have drawer systems in it. The drawers are going to be like on rails. They're not actually wood. They're more plastic drawers, but they'd be great for a kid's room or for a closet. You can use all kinds of wire shelving. Just make sure it's the mesh, not the wire that has larger holes in it. Legos won't stay. You can also use one of the great little simple things, real inexpensive you can do for Legos, is to take a women's shoebox or a men's shoebox that is at Container Store. They're very clear. They're very see-through. And when the Legos are in a particular box, tear off the box picture of the Legos and stick it on the shoebox so it faces out, and then put all those pieces of Legos inside of it and then put it up on the shelf like in the kids' toy area or the grandkids' toy area. And they can see that set of Legos in that particular shoebox actually builds what's on the front picture of the shoebox. And it's a great way to be organized, to visually see what you have really, really well. So I've covered a lot today of things that people have been asking me to touch on for quite some time, and so hope I've helped with some of those things and given you a little motivation. All right, so what we're giving away this week, this month, for the month of March, we'll give it away the first week in April. Two things we're giving away. They're going to be as a group together. We have a Traveler's Little Notebook. It's extremely soft. It's the size of a wallet, and it fits in your purse. And I can't tell you, these things are outstanding. I got them at Walmart when it was back to school. They do not have them now. Has some little pockets, credit card holders right here as well. Then you have a calendar. And again, for those that may not use a calendar, use it for whatever you want. But I'm talking about a paper calendar. You can actually write the week here and the month, so therefore it can start at any time. And then back here is just more notebook, clear paper that you can actually write on and take notes. And it just nicely, conveniently fits inside your purse, and it's a great little travel notebook set to go where you go. And the other items that goes with that, the other item is the Designer Organizer Reversible. This is actually a product that expands and sits down inside your purse. So the bottom expands here. You can snap it if you need to. There's tons of pockets on the outside. Zipper pockets on the inside here, and then you have all kinds of pockets. And what you do is you set this inside of a purse that you, or a satchel that you're carrying around, and then when you're done with it and you want to switch out, you just take it and switch it out to another bag, and your contents all stays in there. It's pretty cool, and we're giving that away. So how do you win it? Leave a comment down below of on anything that you like that you heard on this Tip Tuesday or any previous Tip Tuesday in the month of March. We'll look at everyone's comments. We'll also look at your shares if you share this Tip Tuesday in anyone in March. And the more you share, the more you make comments, it enters you into the drawing even more. And then we'll draw, and the first week in April, we will draw for the winner here. Well, I think that's all for today, guys. Go find a project that you can enjoy and get done while you have the time. I'm Lorraine Brock with Get Organized, helping you organize your home, business, and life. And we're also offering virtual organizing help if you want to make note of that and ask one of our organizers to give you a whole plethora of information for your space and ideas. So I'm Lorraine Brock. We'll see you next week on Tip Tuesday. Bye, guys.